Hello, hello, family. How are y'all doing tonight, huh? Hello, C4, my brother. Hello, CR, my brother. How you doing, sis? How you doing? What's up, Eli, brother? How you doing? What's up, Ryan, brother? How you doing? Ah, so, anyways, we we are going to I'm going to do something. We may have a we may have a you know a a panel if anybody wants to join. Okay, give me a second. All right, I am back. Sorry about that. Anyways, work. That's how it is with me. Um. Anyways, yeah. Let me throw this out. Let me throw this fishing line out. Let me see. Let's see if anybody can bite. Paste. You know, why not do something? Why not do something fun? You know, my channel, yeah, it's survival, but it's not just survival. It's everything. I have everybody from every part of the YouTube universe that comes here. Um, the thing is, we had a conversation and everything. All of us had a conversation about what is truly survival, right? What is survival? What is prepping? What is everything? You know, we have no true definition of anything, right? We as humans believe that we are, you know, yeah, morale, willpower, things like that is just a small tip of the iceberg. You know what I mean? It's mental, it's mental fortitude. There's in survival, there is things that have happened throughout history that is unexplained. Even our basic ancestors wrote about fear of. We never talk about creatures. We never talk about nature itself. we always focus on humans. We always focus on what humans do in survival. We never look outside of the box of human mentality, human strength, human resolve. We never look outside of that. We never look at what other forces are outside. We never look at the forces that hinder human endurance. We never look at nature. We never look at the true what ifs that do kill humans in survival. There's plenty of stories throughout history of other things tampering with human survival. It is, we worry about food, we worry about tools, we worry about, clothing and shelter and all this other stuff. We never worry about fishing in a, we never worry about fishing in a toxic or, dirty pond. We never talk about eating certain animals. Hey, BJ, how you doing? We never talk about the outside influences of survival. We never talk about death in survival. We don't. That is one of the taboo subjects. Because here's the thing. Even Les Stroud will tell you, and I can tell you from personal experience, eating reptiles, especially aquatic reptiles like turtles, frogs, salamanders, even crawfish can kill you. Okay? We don't have the fortitude, we don't have the immunities as we used to, as our ancestors did. Like, if you eat a snapping turtle, okay? Snapping turtles eat anything. They are scavengers of ponds. They are scavengers of lakes. Even if you cook a turtle in its shell, you still have the chance of getting worms. Okay? And not just, I'm not talking about just intestinal worms. I'm talking about heartworms. I'm talking about, blood worms. I'm talking about hookworms. And yeah, you hear that stuff with dogs. You hear that stuff with cats. We can also get that exact same things that any other living animal can get. No, it's not food. It's not food chat. Actually, CR. It's the dangers in it. It's the dangers in true survival. And one of the true dangers of survival and wilderness is eating wild animals. Is, the consumption of wild animals. It's just like if you go to the Badlands, okay, if you're lost in the Badlands, every rat in the Badlands has the Black Plague. They still carry the Black Plague in them. If you're one of these people that say, oh, I'm going to survive on rats and squirrels and whatever, you have to know what animals carry what diseases in what area that you go to. All right? Even if you burn away all of the hair, kill all the fleas and everything that is in those rats, you still have a chance of contracting the Black Plague. Yeah. Even sewer rats can give you dystopia, can give you, what is it? Can give you stomach viruses and stuff like that that makes you shit. Gives you diarrhea. Diarrhea is the one thing in survival situations that will kill a human quicker than dehydration, will kill you quicker than a poisonous snake bite or a bite from a black widow or whatever. And the thing is dehydration is different than diarrhea dehydration. Correct, Ryan. Correct. You have to know. It's not, nobody's immune to any of this stuff. Nobody. You know? Even once a liver is busted in an animal, it will contaminate the whole entire body. It's like these people saying, oh, go and get a fucking deer that's been killed on the side of the road by a car. If their liver is busted, or their kidneys are busted, or their stomach is busted, you cannot eat that meat. I'm sick and tired of hearing this bullshit. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm telling you the God's honest truth. You may think you're some badass country boy that's going to survive. Oh, I'm just going to hit a deer and throw the body in the back of the bed of the truck and survive. No problem, BJ. Once feces is busted, once it settles into, the skin, it is contaminated. It's the same, yeah. Hey, what's up, Bootsy? Yeah, it makes everything toxic. It's the same thing as now. If you're a hunter and you kill a deer, if you open it up and you see white spots on a liver of a deer, you can't eat it. It is already contaminated. It is already sick. That means it's going to come to you. Yeah, you can't cook it out. You can't. Yeah, you may be able to eat it if you cook it burnt. But the thing is you still have the chance of contaminating yourself. You still have the chance of killing yourself. It's the same thing as dried meat. You may think you're going to sit there and have a shitload of salt to dehydrate meat, to salt pork, to do anything that you want to. Even salted meats, air-dried meats, still will get you sick if you've never made your immunity to that kind of meat. It's the same thing as winter. It's the same thing as summer. It's the same thing as other places. Like me, okay? I was born and raised in Tennessee. I was around pine pollen and everything all my life until I came to Texas. Texas has one season called cedar fever season, when the cedar trees pollinate like pine trees. Cedar fever can kill you if you have not been raised around it. It's like moving CR from Canada to Texas, and he's never been around red cedar. If he thinks he's going to move from his biome that he's lived all his life at and going to another biome, he's going to have to realize what that biome will do to his body, because his body has not adapted to that biome. The survival community, is not looking at the worst of any situation. It's you have to make a plan. The thing is even for tips and everything, CR, your body has to get used to each and every biome. It has to. It affects everybody differently. That's why reading books and all this stuff, it comes from one person's perspective, and also their knowledge from other people's perceptions of certain things. Every human being in the world is completely different than somebody else. Even if you learn from the locals, the locals have been in that area since they were born. They know how to handle themselves in their area. You're not from that area. You do not have the immunities. You do not have the build-up. You do not have the defenses just going willy-nilly into another biome. Locals can tell you everything. It's just like, what's his name? Ed Sheridan? Was that his name? The guy that did the documentary of going the Amazon River, walking the whole entire Amazon River and everything. All the stuff that happened to him throughout that time, he got he got his blood sucked out by what's called a Corten leech or something like that. And that Corten leech did something with its saliva in Ed Sheridan's leg. He had to be rushed from where he was to a medicine man in a tribe to try to get his whole entire leg saved, or he would have lost it. They literally had to hold him for 3 weeks because his body did not know how to handle what the Amazon rainforest did to him. Correct, CR. It's the same thing. I don't know how to handle, Canada winter. I don't know how to handle anything in Canada. And it's one of those things. I don't know how to, I don't know how to tap a maple tree to get maple syrup out if I need it. I don't know how to do that stuff because I never had to learn those skills. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a book or something that can tell me how to do it. But the thing is do I have that book? No. No, I don't have those books. I don't have a book specifically on Canadian wilderness. I don't have a book on any of this stuff. And people think, oh, I got the SAS manual that's going to get me through everything. I've got this book from Special Forces Bob whoever that's been in wars and has been in all these other worlds. Yeah. I don't know how to make. If I had to go to Alaska to survive, I'm dead. I don't know how to make. I don't know how to make an igloo. I don't know how to make any of that stuff. Yeah, book smarts versus street smarts. Yeah, and 90% of the time, book smarts get people killed because people rely on reading a book. But the thing is, that book smarts does not handle every situation. Those books are written by a man in a office or a study on a computer in a perfect scenario world. Right. We as humans rely too much. We rely too much on what we see, what we hear, and we say to ourselves, we can do better. We can handle that. We can, I've seen Les Stroud, in the wilderness in, I saw Les Stroud in the wilderness in Arizona. Oh, I've lived in Arizona all my life. I know the ins and outs of Arizona, and I can do better than him. I'm tired of hearing that. You know how to survive for you. He was surviving for him. We cannot take one man's survival journey and say you're going to have the exact same thing, better or worse. Yeah, yes, they are. Yeah. People think they are better than somebody else. That's the way it is with the world. We always are a civilization that thinks we are one up over somebody else, that we are better, that we are stronger, that we shit. Half of us don't even know how to secure a 150-pound bag on ourselves and be able to walk. Most people, most humans, I say about 80% of humans can only carry a 25-pound bag and be able to actually, walk with it. If you go over 25 pounds, you are hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself in more ways than one. You are wearing down your muscles. You're tearing. You're going to be tearing ligaments. You're going to be spraining something. The whole thing about, oh, I'm just going to carry 100 pounds to a certain location, then I'm going to set up a camp. People always say, I'm going to. People always say, I'm going to set up a camp. I'm going to make a permanent spot for me to secure myself and my location. Guess what? You're in a survival situation. You are not securing it. You're not. You're not securing anything. The only thing you're going to do is secure your own death. Survival is about getting to safety, always being on the move, always moving from one place to another. The people that stay in one area thinking that they're going to get saved are the ones that die. And these people saying, "Oh, let's get waterproof, notebooks and leave notes and you know tack it onto a bush or whatever." You know how many birds and rodents and anything else will take that? Have y'all ever heard of Hansel and Gretel? Animals take stuff that is dropped, paper, hair, bread, whatever. They take it and they fly away and they make a nest out of it. Yeah, yeah. You are not safe. You are not going to post. I went. I went northwest from this location. It ain't going to last there. It ain't going to stay put. A bird or a squirrel or a rat is going to eat away at that note. Correct, Bootsy. Correct. And it's the same thing with technology. All right. Technology. You're going to, yeah. You know, I do talk about the GPS locators, the spot GPS locators. Those things are good, but because they hook up to a satellite, and they redirect the messages and the signal to emergency services. Yes. But what happens in a true survival situation, like what a lot of people are prepping for? Okay. Spot GPS locators are good for a perfect world when things are running perfectly, when there is power to receive signals, when there is you know electricity still. If you if it like a lot of people are prepping for the end of the fucking world that has no power and all this stuff, and you've got a daisy chain 20 batteries together to have a power source. These things are going to be useless to you. Even ham radios are going to be useless. Any kind of communications is going to be useless. And if you're in somewhere that does not have, if you're in an area that does not have first world technology, say you take your Hivar, ham radio, okay? The Hivar. The Hivar is supposed to, be a world class, I can get on any CB, radio signal and everything. I could be in the middle of God knows where and do it. It's bullshit. If you're in the Sahara Desert, there is no radio towers out there. You're not sending an SOS out in the Sahara Desert. You're not even sending out something in the Chihuahuan Desert in Texas, because there is no radio towers out there, because there is no civilizations out there. You have to use those radios where there is civilization. Correct, CR. There's no ping, there's no radio towers, nothing. You are dead. That little radio is useless. We are prepping people for a fantasy world. Everything is that preppers are prepping with today is in a perfect world. When something truly happens, guess what? Even in a world emergency, guess what? All radio towers and everything are going to emergency broadcast only, not emergency signal. They are not receiving or sending anything except for emergency broadcast from the government telling you where to go that is a safe haven location. That is the only time you're going to be able to hear anything. You are not going to be able to use your ham radio to contact other people, because those signals are going to be blocked off. I mean, why do you think it was so hard during World War II and everything to get signals out to people while they were in the field? Because everything was down. Correct, CR. I mean, look how easy it is for a signal to be broken and not received in the middle of a city on your cell phone. How many times has anybody ever tried to call somebody and you're literally right outside of a county or a city and you can't get signal? Even with today's smartphones and everything, signal is weak. Signal can be broken. Signal can be lost. People don't want to hear this stuff because it's the truth. People want to feel that they are going to be able to be rescued and live. Guess what? Most of the time with survival or any of this stuff, you have to take care of yourself. You have to. We have relied on mama and daddy government to take care of everything for the longest time. We have forgot how it is to actually be alone, to actually have to suffer with your own demons, with your own fears, and get over it. Suck it up. This isn't a bedtime story with a happy ending. It's not. None of this is a happy ending. 99% of survival stories end in death. It's a sad and honest truth. There's only about maybe 1% of people that truly survive. And most survival stories now are, oh, I got lost picking mushrooms in the wilderness. Okay, you set yourself up for that. You didn't prepare. You thought you were just going to be out there for a few hours with little to no experience, little to no natural guidance, and you got turned around in the woods. You know how many people get turned around in national parks every day because they want to go and take a picture? That is now survival stories. Oh, I got lost because I wanted to take a picture for my social media account, my Twitter, or whatever. And now I'm lost. That's not a survival story. That is not a fucking survival story. But that's what the world is now. It's not like it was 300 years ago where you're on a expedition through Antarctica, breaking through glass and everything, hunting seals, and now you can't get out because you have hit too thick of ice, and now you and your crew are starving to death and freezing to death. Today's survival is not the same as it was when true survival was needed. It's not. We glamorize survival. We glamorize prepping. We have TV shows to glamorize and to make fun of preppers that have money but are too stupid to understand what they're prepping for. So let's make money on National Geographic or Discovery Channel and say we're a doomsday prepper. This is what the world is now. It's all about TV. It's all about notification. It's all about selling something because I got a sponsorship. So yeah, now I'm going to go sell the Silky Saw Katana. Why the hell do I need an almost 12-foot saw? Why? Who needs a 12-foot silky saw? It is, Bootsy. It is. It is a fad. Just like glamping now. Glamping is glamping because of technology. Yeah. it we now are in an age where you have a king size air mattress that heats up, massages you, and on Temu, they have heated freaking sleeping bags now. Yeah, building a cabin. Bushcrafting isn't bushcrafting anymore. Bushcrafting is going out somewhere, building a cabin out of the wood, out of the trees and everything, and doing bullshit work to make a man cave. They should just put a picket fence around it and call it home. It's just like the Philippine channels. You see two Filipino guys in the jungle wearing some kind of fucking loincloth, hand digging in mud, going and collecting wood, going to collect rocks and mud and turning it into a freaking wilderness Airbnb with a pool and God knows what. That's not survival. That is not anything. And guess what? If anybody's actually really intelligent and actually can see shit, you can see that those guys are not building that thing, because I've seen tracks at a lot of those locations when they're building it. I've seen tracks from backhoes and stuff in there. They're not doing it by hand. Nobody has the time or patience to be able to build that stuff. And then you see people from Australia, riding around, going to small little islands and living for 24 hours with a knife and collecting trash off of the islands to survive. It's survival now is one man's treasure. One man's trash is another man's treasure. That's all survival is. If you're in a real, true survival situation, you're not going to be on a deserted island that collects trash. Even if a cruise ship starts to sink or something, okay, during COVID, what was it? One of the Carnival cruise ships had to hold people in the in the ocean for, what was it, 3-4 weeks, something like that. They weren't suffering. Those people were not suffering. Those people had food. Those people had water. They had everything that they needed. It was not what the news made it out to be, that they were so suffering and they couldn't get off the boat for 3 weeks. Yeah, they had everything they needed, and the news was making it sound like, oh, they were in such trouble, that they were suffering every day because they couldn't watch TV, or they couldn't get on their social media. Oh, they were in so much trouble. Like, we are a world of fear. We are. We want to keep people on the fence with fear. Right, Bootsy, right. You know, I mean, you know, he put himself in that situation technically. Like he didn't fall into that. You know, it wasn't oh my god, I am doomed. You know what I mean? He had a mindset of what he was going to do. He could have pulled out at any time. He could have. He could have walked away from it. Yeah. He decided his own fate. He decided what he wanted to do. It's just like a lot of these people that think that they're going to live out in the middle of God knows where, live off the land, live off of everything, tiny living, you know, homesteading, all this stuff. They put themselves into that situation. You know, preppers put themselves in their position. Survivalists put themselves in their situation. In this day of age, everything is planned. Nobody put a gun to their head and dropped them off into the middle of nowhere with an axe and a knife and said, live or die. You know? It's hard to feel sorry for anybody. It's hard to say, this person suffered more than this person because of their decisions, their inabilities. It's all predetermined. It's different if, you know, it would be different if he was, say he was traveling to Dead Horse, Alaska. Okay. Dead Horse, Alaska has nobody. Nobody. And say he was traveling there, trying to get to the next, you know, next native village or something. And his car broke down. And now he's stuck in the middle of wherever, not knowing where he is, not knowing anything. That would be a what they call a act of God kind of survival situation. You know, even and I always bring this movie up. I always bring it up. The rock climber guy that fell down, got his arm caught in a rock and everything, and had to cut his arm off, and he became he became a living legend because he had to cut his own arm off and live. He put himself in that situation. He sealed his own fate. It wasn't a survival situation. It wasn't. Everybody says that it was a true survival situation. No, it wasn't. He put himself in that situation. It's not survival when you fuck up. It's not. It goes all the way back. It's like Ouroboros. It's like the dragon that constantly eats itself. We feed the demon. Yes, self-induced. Correct, Bootsy. He paid the price for his hobby. It's the same thing as if I go out this coming up weekend, if I go out and try to survive out in the middle of God knows where with limited food, with limited tools, with limited whatever. If I go out with a dollar store bag of $10, I'm putting myself in that situation. If things fuck up, it's because I didn't prepare for it. I put myself in it. Hey, Vanessa, sis. If I die out in the middle of God knows where because I put myself in a situation, I expect a movie. I expect a book. What's up? What's up, Wally? Yeah, they do. Right, CR. We have to stop God sending these people that made their decisions. We have to stop it. It's the exact same thing with idolizing Bear Grylls and idolizing Les Stroud and idolizing, Ed Safran, idolizing all these people that are getting paid to be in that situation. You are getting paid to torture yourself on purpose. You are getting paid to carry around hundreds of pounds of camera equipment to get the perfect angle to get all this stuff, and you want to say that, oh, I'm starving so much because I'm carrying X amount of camera gear, and I've got to change out batteries, I've got to change out, videotapes, I've got to do this, I got to do that, but I'm starving. Boo fucking who? You put yourself in that situation. And you're making millions. Don't say that you're not. Just like Bear Grylls. He goes out, films 2 or 3 hours of surviving, then goes to the Marriott afterwards and takes a hot shower, eats a good meal, and goes right back out. You are doing this on your own. And you're not even filming yourself. You got a cameraman the whole entire time, Bear Grylls. Yeah, you used to be a badass when you were younger in the military before you fucked your back up and all this stuff. But guess what? You're not the same man as you used to be. You're not. I'm not the same man as I used to be. None of us are the same person that we used to be. Yeah. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I was a better person than I am now. Yeah, Bootsy. What's up, Wally brother? Did I say that? I'm sorry. I'm on my rant. I'm on a rant. And you know what? We and even me, I'm in on this too because you know what? I'm on YouTube. I'm doing live streams and everything. I'm discussing survival also, but you know what I'm doing? Not doing. I'm not getting people killed. I'm not giving people lucid ideas on survival. Yeah, it's knowing the situation, knowing your limitations, knowing your strengths. Don't think for a second that Canadian prepper is a badass just because he's built and blah blah blah. Motherfucker is a businessman. Have y'all seen that guy's shop that he sells all his stuff through? Have you seen his warehouse? He is a fearmonger. He wants you to buy directly from him, nobody else. He only shows what he sells. He doesn't tell you the truth on survival. And it's the same thing with a lot of these other big named survival channels also. I can go down the list one by one on all these people. And they're telling you how to live, how to survive. And they're sitting in a $500,000 house right now because of what they've done. Right, CR. Right. What are you? Have you ever went and stayed 24 hours in the wilderness with nothing? No. Nobody has done that. Nobody has had to survive with nothing. Depends on the MRE, Wally. I mean, I've seen at army supply stores them selling MREs that were dated 2001. Like, there's enough sodium and preservatives in an MRE that's going to kill you. That's why they give you the laxative gum for that stuff. Right, Vanessa? Vanessa could tell you firsthand about that laxative gum. It's these YouTube channels and everything are going to get people killed. They are. Because we are feeding people with information on random subjects. random knowledge pushes out real knowledge. This is why we need people in chat to ask. And I'm talking about we need people that are not preppers, that are not survivalists, that are not homesteaders, that are not whatever. We need average Jane and John Does in our survival groups, in our survival chat rooms, to ask questions that they need answering, because we keep hitting and beating on the same dead horse over and over and over again. Like Wally's question, what's the shelf life on an MRE? Wally's not a prepper. Wally is not a survivalist. This is the stuff that we need, because when you have 50 survivalists and preppers in one room, it's like we're all cats on catnip smacking the same ball around. We never get anywhere. We never are able to help. We are just rambling along to make ourselves remember what we need to remember. When we reach out to people that actually want to learn, but the thing is people that they don't know what to ask either. That's the thing. That's the problem with our community. Yeah, CR. That's the problem with our community. We get people that are too overwhelmed. We have too many people that get overwhelmed by too many subjects that are not with each other, that is not in the same category as each other. We don't. We go from water purification to catching fish. Then we go from catching fish to CB radios. Then we go from CB radios to shelter options. Then we go from shelter options all the way back to water purification again. We never stay on one subject. We never stay focused. It's like we all have ADD. And we have ADD because of the situations that we have to discuss all the time. We never focus on one subject at a time, especially when there's like 7 of us that want to talk about different subjects. And we can't do something that's just a broad range, a broad range idea. Like me. This is Good Evening Survival, and it says survival discussion underneath there. It's not saying one thing. I even do it myself. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else. I'm not. Because look at me. And I know my flaws. I know my problems. I do have ADD. Right. And see, that's the problem with most people in America, Wally. Most people in America cannot afford prepping supplies. You know, even if it's just $5 a month, you can start prepping. And it goes to the whole entire thing, quote unquote, forever food. You can go to Dollar Tree or something like that, get a 1 to 2 pound bag of beans, pinto beans, mixed beans, whatever. You can go and get a 1 to 2 pound bag of rice, whole grain. There's always white rice because wild rice, whole grain rice, stuff like that are not forever foods. People don't say that. Whole grain rice, wheat rice, stuff like that will mold, will harden, will go bad. White rice will not. It will harden. It will. But it will still stay good. But if you get off-brand rice and everything, you will see mites in your rice if it's too old. Always remember that. Rice gets weevils, rice gets mites, and they will destroy your preps. People don't say that. People will not tell you that rice has other things that destroys it. Right, CR. Right. You know, $5 a month can save you. Put them back. Don't even look at them. I mean, check them every month. Make sure, weevils and mites and even moths have not laid eggs in that bag. But check your preps. Check and make sure that they're still good. Yeah. Vinegar, salt, sugar, all of that stuff is technically forever foods. But they all can go bad too. They can go bad. It's not the same as it was 1,000 years ago when rice and wheat and stuff like that were taken care of. We today make things to be eaten. We don't make things to last. It's just like if you're prepping, make sure you prep spices, all kinds of spices, not just basic spices. Salt, salt, garlic, onion. Salt, pepper, garlic, onion. That is the basis of everything. Any wagon chain, any cowboy, any cowboy cook site or whatever always had salt, pepper, garlic, onion. Guess what? When you eat that exact same flavor over and over and over and over again, day after day after day, your body will reject it. your taste buds will reject it. It's just like if you have 50 cases of meat, lasagna and meat sauce, MREs, you are going to get sick of it. You will get sick of it. Why do you think people in the military trade out MREs all the fucking time? Because they are sick of the same flavor. Ask anybody in the military. Ask Vanessa. Ask anybody that's ever been in the military. See how long they eat the exact same MRE back to back. Sorry, CR. It has to happen. It has to happen. Food is the one thing that humans need to live. Right, Wally. That's what I'm saying. We grow an intolerance to the exact same flavor all the time. That's why you have to have a huge assortment of different spices. Even if you you can eat beans every day as long as it's not the same flavor. Correct, Bootsy. Correct. As long as you spice up and change the flavor of the food that you eat, you can survive. Correct, CR. Correct. We never talk about this stuff. We don't. We never talk about it because people in the survival community, people in the prepper community, live in a perfect world. We have a multitude of different options to try out every day. You never see a YouTuber eating the exact same meal. You've never seen a YouTuber or a survivalist or whatever eating the exact same meal for 7 days straight. Even Les Stroud shows you that. He was in Australia and he ate crawfish for what? 3 days straight, and then he started getting sick on it. What's up, Adadir? How you doing? I think I'll do that. I mean, even look at the guy that made the documentary Super Size Me, the McDonald's documentary, right? The guy that made the McDonald's documentary. Oh, God. The man that made the McDonald's documentary, he ate McDonald's for what, a month straight or something like that, and showed what happens to the human body when you consume the exact same food every day, all day long, the exact same food. It's the same thing. You know why Gandhi survived on one bowl of beans a day? Is because he changed it up every day. He was able to live where other Indians at that time were starving to death. because they could not continue eating beans every day. Right, Adenir. Right. Correct, Bootsy. That's the thing. He used mixtures of different spices every time he got his bean rations. Yes. We want to look at, this survival technique from 200 years ago. We want to look at this survival technique that our ancestors, the Native Americans, did 500 years ago. But we don't want to look at how they lived, how they survived, what foods they ate. We only care about the foods that last long, like pemmican. We only give a damn about pemmican. That's the only food source we give a damn about that the Native Americans ever made. We don't care about fried bread. We don't care about anything else that were survival foods, because we don't see that as a necessity. We care about techniques. We care about making a fire. We care about purifying water. We don't care about nurturing the body. We don't care about actually going on wild edibles. Yeah. Yeah. Correct, Wally. Correct. We do not even look 100 years ago at the way people made food during the Depression. The way people had to rely on limited resources. Just look at a cookbook from the Depression era. Look at the most disgusting sounding food in the world. There's a guy on YouTube that does this. He's a baker. He bakes God knows what. He makes pre-war, pre-World War II foods and earlier. Unusual, unknown recipes. Yeah. Look at traditional Roman cookbooks. Look at traditional French cookbooks. Stuff when you were surviving on wild edibles and what was hunted. Not what you can go and pick up at the Aldi's or whatever grocery store that you have. If you are going to be a prepper, if you are going to be a survivalist, you have to know how to eat the most disgusting stuff in the world. You have to. Because it's not rainbows and sunshine in a true survival situation. It's not. You may have some form of pleasure foods, but only for a limited time. You are never going to truly. You may think you have a ration, a stockpile for 3 years, when true hunger hits, you run out half that time, quarter that time, especially if you're heavier, especially if you never had to worry about food before. Your stomach takes over your brain. It is proven time and time and time again. Hunger overrides your common sense. Right, Wally. Right. Castaway was almost a good survival movie. It was. Yeah, they overplayed a lot of things, but the mindset hit in. Correct, CR. You are not yourself when starvation hits. You are angrier. You can't think straight when your stomach is growling and digesting your own fat. A heavier person is going to be able to survive longer than a thin person because of fat reserves. Me, I've got the metabolism of an 18-year-old. If I'm not constantly eating, I'm fucked. In a true survival situation, me and my wife have already, I have a specific section of my house that is made for Matthew only meals. The rest of the stock is for everything else for my wife and my animals. We have to double everything that we buy because of me, because of my metabolism, because of my hunger. Yeah, there's some days I don't want to eat, but there's some days where I just cannot stop eating. Right, CR, right. Yeah. We high metabolism people are going to die. I'm sorry, we are. Especially in a true survival situation, a true oh shit moment. We will die. Right, Booty. Like it's yeah, right, CR. We are not we do not take those we do not take that into consideration. We do not take our hunger. We do not realize what we eat on a normal, everyday basis. You have to take in what you eat daily. Sorry, my sorry, I'm driving everybody. Anyways, yeah, you have to take into consideration what you eat and how much you eat. I've got to the point where I've trained my body. If in an emergency, I do it 1 week out of every month that I literally eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Each portion is 2 Ritz crackers or 2 saltine crackers with 1 spoonful of tuna on it. And that's all I eat until I'll eat 2 crackers with a spoonful of tuna on each cracker for breakfast. I'll eat 2 crackers and 2 spoonfuls of tuna for lunch. I'll eat 2 spoonfuls of tuna on 2 crackers for dinner. All week long. And you know how angry and how starving I am doing that? I feel like I could kill somebody. Like, my anxiety, my hunger, I turn into a different person when that happens. What's up, John, brother? How you doing? Sorry, I'm trying to read chat, but I gotta drive. Sorry. Yeah. You have to push your body to the limit. If you are truly wanting to take this lifestyle, you have to know what you can and cannot take. You have to know what stress your mind and your body can withstand. And hunger is mental, physical, and emotional pain. It's not. Try doing that in a world like right now. Try eating just 6 crackers a day with 6 spoonfuls of tuna for 24 hours, and you're walking around and you see snack machines filled with food. You see, you go into a gas station and you smell hot dogs cooking. And you have to withstand eating that. You have to withstand it because we are in a perfect world right now. You can go and buy whatever you want to eat. But trying to train your body to withstand that temptation. Yeah. All these people that say, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. No. Because I know when you're lying. Because I've done it. It circles all the way back around to people's mindsets. Yeah. Even me talking about it is making my stomach growl. You have to learn. You have to be able to withstand it. What was that? There was an Arctic expedition in like the 1800s or something like that. When they were sitting there starving, sitting by a fire, you know what they did to try to fill their stomachs? They talked about food. They talked about what their family made. While they drank cold, while they talked about cold while they were drinking cold, freezing water to expand their stomach. They talked about food to try to sublet the idea of their stomach growling. And I've done that. I've filled my stomach with water when I was hungry. It doesn't work the way people think it does. It expands your stomach, yes, but it's not. Your stomach knows the difference between liquid and nutrients. Well, it's more than just food, Jeff. It's how to train your body. You know, even Les Stroud, when he was at a water source and he was starving, he had no food supposedly for like 2 days, right? Well, he was sitting there filling his stomach up with water. On the second day, I think it was his Canada episode, the one where he was eating the lily pad bulbs and it made him sick because either the lily pad bulbs were wrong or they were not in season or something like that. Yeah, it's more of just like living on water, Wally. It's like you have to drink a gallon of water in about 10 minutes to fully expand your stomach to the point where you feel like the water's coming up into your throat. That's how you bypass hunger temporarily in your stomach, is by expanding the gap of your stomach, expanding to where it doesn't have room to rumble, where it doesn't have food to, where it's not using the stomach acids to digest your fat reserves. It's hard to do. It's hard to drink that much water that quickly. Yeah, the boreal forest. Yeah, that's it, CR. But yeah, he was expanding his stomach with food, with water, to try to get to subsidize the hunger that he was feeling. And then he finally realized, oh, I can eat these water lily bulbs. That ruined him. That made him sick. That made him vomit. That made him have diarrhea. People do not understand what your body cannot do. You know, Les Stroud may not have been able to handle that, but somebody like CR may be able to handle that because it's the way our bodies process substance. You cannot judge the same survival situation from one person to the next because each person is built differently. Correct, Bootsy. Correct. Yeah, it caused a shitload more dehydration, and it was making his stomach to the point where now he was throwing up stomach acids. Because of on an empty stomach, all you have is stomach acids to throw up. that burns your esophagus. That burns everything because it's literal stomach acid, digestive juices. We don't explain that. People think that this type of life is going to be rainbows and sunshine. They think that they're going to be able to come out on top and never had to experience any kind of pain before this. Correct. Yeah. You know, your stomach acids can cause up to third degree burns in your organs. That's why when the stomach busts in a animal, see, we're going out again. We're going around to this. From that experience to why we can't eat all wild animals. Because when a stomach busts, guess what spills out of the stomach into the body? That stomach acid that eats away at flesh, meat. That's what its purpose is. Right. Full circle. This is what we don't do. All bodies are completely toxic. That's why you have to clean out a stomach completely before you can use it for anything. You have to clean it out. You have to soak it in purified water. Then you have to let it dry in the sun for, I think it's like 3 or 4 days. Because if not, the what is it called? Laulative? I don't know. It starts with an L. It's some kind of L acid in the stomach that will that will like poison water that holds in it when they used to use stomachs as water bladders. And then they went from stomachs to bladders to literally call it a water bladder. You can use the stomach or the bladder for a water bladder, but it's the exact same thing. You have to clean both of them the exact same way. Correct. Correct, Wally. You do. People don't understand. It's like it's like the one episode Bear Grylls was at. I think it was no, it wasn't the Rocky Mountains. It was some mountain range that Bear Grylls was at. Okay. Supposedly an avalanche happened and a deer or a caribou or something like that was trapped in it, died. And he's sitting there saying, oh, you can eat the eyeballs and you can do this because it's perfectly preserved from the avalanche, right? He takes a hunk of meat out of it and bites straight into it like it's nothing, right? Well, he didn't check anything. He didn't cut it open. He didn't check any of the organs. He didn't check if the stomach was ruptured. He didn't check if the kidneys He didn't check if the kidneys were destroyed. He didn't check if the intestines ruptured. He was just saying, oh, because it was covered in snow, it was preserved and good to eat. Right there. Right there. He may have been able to eat it. We don't know what happened to him afterwards, right? Because, it's Bear Grylls. Yeah. It's just, I do I have all this bullshit information stored in my head that's swirling around like a riptide. And I hate it. I hate it. And it's always the information that pisses me off. Like I can't remember happy. I can't remember happy information. I can't remember good information. No, it's always piss me off information. Yeah, it's and it's just like just like everything else, it's like it's like people telling you how to make an A-frame. Sorry, no, I'm not going to say it. It's like these survival books that say, "Oh, build an A-frame tarp tent." If you're in a survival situation and you ain't got a tarp, who's going to be carrying a tarp on them in a true survival situation if you ain't got a survival bag or anything like that? And how many people actually pack a tarp in a sidecar survival bag? Sorry. Thanks, CR. I don't even remember my first one. It's gone downhill since my first one, brother. But, we glamorize and we idolize too much. We idolize and glamorize too much BS in survival and in prepping and in homesteading, bushcrafting. We idolize too many things. That's the point that's the point that I try to make, that most people in this community are going to die. I'm not saying it like our good Uncle Al. Uncle Al, oh shit. Well, like, I love Uncle Al. I love Uncle Al so much. But the thing is a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people will die in survival situations. A lot of these blowhard, lone wolf, me mentality preppers and survivalists are going to die. The ones that keep their little bug out bag in their closet, that don't have anything in their cars. See, that's the thing. Like, you would expect somebody to carry a tarp, right, Bootsy? I think the exact same way. But in most people's mindsets, a tarp takes up too much room in a bag. Even my small little get home bag. The tarp that I have is like a 10 by 20 foot tarp that's rolled up like a little blanket in its own little like waterproof blah blah blah. But the thing is the room that thing takes up is not worth the space for a tarp. You give up almost half of your bag for a tarp. For that space that you have a tarp, you could add extra clothing. You could add an extra MRE meal. And by the time you cut down the trees or find strong enough fallen, sticks to build an A-frame and secure the tarp and do everything that you need to do to make a camp, you're already going to be on your next move. And you're going to spend more time taking down that camp or tarp to hinder yourself from actual survival. It's easier rolling together extra clothes than it is having a tarp. Because if it rains and you think, a tarp is going to be the way for me to get fresh water and, do a lot of things. If you have cotton clothes on, let it soak. Then just take off those soaked clothes, strain it into a water bottle. Do it all again. Unless you're in winter, you're fine getting wet. You're fine. Yeah. You can get a 6 foot by 5 foot, poly tarp, like a cheap one that you can fold together and, but getting that out, it's too much hassle. It is literally too much hassle unless it's in a winter situation. And even then, in a winter situation, depending on what biome you're at, you don't even need a tarp for a winter situation. If there's a good spruce tree or pine tree or cedar tree that has a decent enough base around it, it's going to be pretty much dry underneath a tree. And you can build up a fortification around that tree with compacted snow. Have I ever done it? Hell no. But you're going to hear that from a survival book, Oh, climb up underneath a spruce tree, build a snow fortification. They're going to give you a little how-to hand drawing on doing it and not truly tell you how to make it. They give you like maybe a small paragraph on how to make it and maybe 2 or 3 hand-drawn steps. That's why I say these people that put a survival handbook in their bag are going to die. They will die. They may survive for a little while, but they will die. I mean, if you have to rely on a book to survive, you are dead. Correct, Bootsy. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Everything takes time. Everything takes time. Everything eats away at your energy. That's why I hate these survival books saying, how to make all the. They have a complete chapter on how to make knots, how to make, shelters. In a true survival situation, nobody truly makes shelters unless they find a good source of running water and food. Most survival situations, are continuously moving, continuously hiking. Because you're going to be hiking from sunshine to sunset and after. Because you want to get home, correct? CR, do you want to live in the woods for the rest of your life, a survival situation? Bootsy, do you want to live in the woods for the rest of your life in a survival situation? Do any of y'all? Yeah. But when a true situation happens, your natural instincts kick in. Your primal senses kick in. You may never have been in the woods a day of your life. But you know what? When you get thirsty, you look for water, correct? When you get hungry, you look for food. When you need to use the bathroom, you let nature take its course, correct? You ain't going to sit there and have to read a chapter to take all the time in the world to distill and purify running water. Right. You are not going to sit there and read a whole entire chapter on how to make a fire, create the perfect birchwood bowl so you can pour water in it to boil water over a fire. No. In a survival fucking situation, you see running water beside you, you're going to drink from it. Even the Native Americans never boiled water. Water purifies itself on how many rocks and everything. You don't have to make a 5-stage water filter out of rocks, dirt, sand, charcoal, all this stuff. No, you don't. And guess what? All this that you're doing to make a water filter out of is already in the damn stream or lake or river that it's running through. People don't get that. People don't get that nature provides what is needed. We don't have to take a sock off. You know what? You're probably going to get sicker from taking a sock off to make a 5-stage filter from all your toe funk and sweat and everything else that's in that disgusting, nasty sock than what is already in the water. Correct, CR. You know, if you don't have that stuff, you can't do it. And nobody tells you, like, these survival books, like, they're written by a man that's probably in a $500,000 house that is just doing the exact same thing as everybody else. That is writing exactly the exact same thing that everybody else has written. You know, when you have to resort to taking off your nasty clothes that you've been wearing day in and day out to make a filtration system without washing it, if you're at that point, God help you. Well, yeah. I mean, but the thing is, yeah, you need water. You do. But the thing is prioritizing. Are you going to take a nasty sock, fill it up with dirt and rocks and everything, soak it to make a water purification, then put that back on your foot, soaking wet, to give yourself trench foot to continue on to get to survive, get to freedom. Correct, Bootsy, it is. Yeah, I know you have, brother. But I'm saying we overthink. We overthink situations too much. We make ourselves sicker by feeding into the disillusion and the fear of everything. Oh, I'm going to get 16, 17 bugs in my stomach from drinking out of this pool of water. Well, you know what? You probably will if it's a stagnant pool of water. Stagnant, not running water. If it's running water, you're okay. because everything goes downstream. Everything goes downstream. Stagnant, everything stays in one place. Yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah. You'll also dehydrate even if you're beside water in a hot location. You can also dehydrate in cold. Like, there's multiple ways to dehydrate yourself. See, that's the thing. Dogs and cats get parvo and everything over long periods of time drinking out of that. Humans, it's very rare for humans to get parvo. It's very rare. But we have domesticated dogs and cats from their, wild ancestors. Wolves, bobcats, stuff like that, they don't get parvo from drinking out of, running water and stuff. That's the difference between domesticated and feral. Like, well, wild, not because there's feral cats, and feral dogs, but I'm talking about actual wilderness that are meant to survive in the wilderness. Like coyotes, stuff like that, they don't get parvo. But things are just so different. And if you're at the source, if you're at the source of a wild spring or a mountain spring or something like that, if you're at the source, the direct source, you're not going to get sick. You won't. You only get sick around civilization. If you drink like me, if I drink from the Guadalupe River, that's 5 miles away from me. If I drink from that water, I'm going to get sick because it's around civilization. There is water pipes that pump out of that. There's sewer pipes that run beside those water pipes. There's all this other stuff. That's why they say wait. Stagnant water? Yeah. Don't ever drink from stagnant water. Like, stagnant water. Like a rain puddle that's been sitting in a crevice of a rock for X amount of times. Like, okay. In the Chihuahuan Desert, the Native Americans that lived in the Chihuahuan Desert and stuff, because the water was so limited in the Chihuahuan Desert, the Apaches and stuff, they grinded water well holes in sandstone. Yeah, like the Apaches, grinded out water wells in sandstone to trap rainfall and everything, and it was deep enough to be around maybe about a foot deep, probably about maybe 2 foot wide. And there were in, kind of like rock formations, so they could hide that. And they had water to drink from while they were running away from the U.S. Marshals and everything. And the U.S., United States military. Those water wells and everything created stagnant water. That stagnant water and stuff like that usually made people sick. They made certain other stagnant water wells to make the army sick also. Because stagnant water breeds eggs. Mosquito eggs, it grows larvae in it. Stagnant water, like the difference between stagnant water and rushing water. When mosquitoes lay eggs around rushing water, they lay it around the shore where water stagnates somewhat, where algae and stuff like that grows. You don't drink from that water. You go into the water. You go into the deepest part of the water, and you drink from the rushing water in the middle, because that's where the bugs are not going to be. They're not going to lay their eggs there, anything like that. Like when animals drink from water, they drink from the shore. They don't go out into the water to drink water. They drink from the shore. And it's the same thing with humans. Humans believe that they don't want to get wet. They don't want to get, into the water to go and drink. So they drink from the shore. That's the same thing in like the 1700s when we were doing the trail, going out west. We were drinking water from the shore. We were drinking water from the stagnant water that pulls up on the shore of creeks and rivers. We were getting sick from mosquito eggs and larvae and stuff like that to make dysentery. Instead of going out into the deep part of the water to get clean water, we were drinking the area where the bugs were. That's what made us sick. Correct. Right, Wally. Right. Like, this is the fear that we build. We make people fear drinking from the wilderness, drinking from whatever. Because we put in saying, oh, there's mosquitoes in the water, there's larvae in the water, all this stuff. Guess what? There's larvae and bacteria in your purified tap water. We cannot. Purified tap water is no different than regular water. It's just you have more chemicals in tap water. But if you drink directly from the source, if you drink from the actual running water and not water that has algae or, you know, those water skimmer bugs that float around, that's the water that you do not drink from. And our bodies are meant to handle more than what we realize. It's just like your body is better at your body is better at what's the word I'm looking at? We are meant to eat raw meat. Our body is better at adapting and handling raw meat than cooked meat. Our body takes more resources and more water, more carbohydrates, more everything to digest cooked meat than raw meat. Our stomach uses more acid to digest cooked meat than it does raw meat. We were animals at one time. We were wild at one time. We have broken away from being natural because some man said this tastes better. It's just the way the world is. If you take a rare steak and you eat it, it's going to make you sick because the way we process food now. But if you kill a deer and you eat its heart while it's still warm and everything, it will not make you sick. The idea will make you sick, but the meat and the blood will not make you sick. Yes, it's fresh. It's not already decomposing. All stores are doing is feeding you decomposing meat. It's the way it is. You're being fed decomposing meat. That's why we get so sick. It's not fresh. It's not instant. We don't look at everything how we're supposed to look at it. We hide from the truth. That's why we have to cook meat from a store. You have to cook meat from a store or you will get sick. Yeah, we're not. We're not natural. But I am home, everybody. I love you all. Y'all take care of yourselves. I will see you on the next one. May do it tomorrow morning. I don't know. I love you, family. Y'all take care of yourselves, all right? And don't fall to the fear. Don't let people scare you. Because fear rules everything. It does. Family. Y'all take care. I love you. Well, something's going on with my phone. All right. I love y'all.